What?
9.
9? Boy, am I a failure in our Japanese office.
Okay, so that you're talking about new technology. Yeah, I agree that that's changed our world, maybe our industry. But that technology is not just for us, just not belong to us. It's belong to the people. So that there's a wonderful way to working together with the people, and that make the different kind of the campaign. So I think that
that's beautiful.
The same.
Are you sticking with your 9?
Okay, so I changed my mind.
Okay.
Okay, maybe because Tom is really the doubtful, so that maybe 7.
Okay. Okay. Here's to Japan leading the way. All right. Okay, you've got a 7. All right. Maybe we'll come back to that 7 a little bit later, but. Bruce, you are a expatriate person raised on classic, timeless Burnettian truth, and you have transplanted into a Cheil in Cheil Communication, working for Samsung. So you really are an outsider, having penetrated the market, but still in a position to compare and contrast. How satisfied are you on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, looking at the whole output of the Korean advertising industry, I would say that I would rank it no more than 4.5.
Is that a polite 4.5?
That's an honest 4.5. I mean, I could say 5 and then say that that's kind of middling, but I think that would be cheating because I think.
So if you're going to oversimplify, and I realize that generalizations are always dangerous, but what would be the typical Korean creative that does not satisfy you? What are its characteristics? A few bullet points.
Well, of course, I have to be very, very honest and say, first of all, that we are by far the largest agency in Korea, so an awful lot of the product that I'm criticizing is my own product.
Yeah.
But and I'm also well aware that in many markets, including the one that I come from, that celebrity endorsement is something which tends to work. But the way that it happens in Korea is something that just makes me creep. It's not celebrity endorsement where someone has thought about, here's a product, here's a great story we're going to tell about this product. Which celebrity might add some stardust and sprinkle that stardust over it? It's like, in Korea, we want to use this celebrity. That's where you start. And that is so frustrating. And of all the things that really gets me about the Korean product, that will be the first one.
So celebrity fixation makes you feel...
A little bit creepy.
Creepy was the word I heard.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we've got
Mind you, some of them are really good looking.
Over in Japan, in Dentsu, which and then we have celebrity creep out in Korea. Kitty, you work with Lowe, and part of your client base is multinational, Unilever. Part of it is local clients, local state-owned enterprises, and local enterprises as well. 1 to 10.
Okay. Yeah, I saw your question. So I have a split of mine. Let me answer you with numbers then. On one hand, I'm rating it an 8. On the other hand, I'm rating it a 2.
That's what we call elegant evasion.
No.
If there are any Chinese in the audience, it's an 8.
Okay.
Good.
I think the overall market is very young.
Very young.
Very young, very ambitious. Advertising doesn't have a long history. So the creative people who come out are all very hungry. So they always want to do courageous things. They want to take risks and so on. However, on the other hand, like what you have explained, Tom, that there are a lot of multinational clients. China is very big, too big. 1.3 billion population. I'm sure a lot of Indian friends will agree with me that a big market comes with big stakes. And it is very difficult to make mistakes. I mean, if you make mistake, it's not just your life, but many people's lives are on the line. So you don't want to take too much risks. And you end up being so safe that you are just not foolish.
You're not, I'm sorry?
Foolish.
Foolish.
Yeah. So on one hand,
Diesel.
we are an 8. which is the hunger, you know, be hungry, stay hungry. But on the other hand, we are not foolish enough. So using Steve Jobs' 2 words, I think, you know, China has fulfilled one of them, is the hunger aspect. And the foolish aspect is not enough.
So I hear you saying that there is the ambition for creativity, but there are certain barriers that are blocking it. And
That's right.
I also heard you talk about conservatism. Is what you're saying that the cost of building brands on television and mass media is so expensive that clients and agency folk themselves are very risk averse in terms of...
If you want to launch a product in a small market, like say, for example, Singapore, if you make some mistakes, that's okay. You come back and do another campaign. You didn't waste too much money. But in China, if you're talking about a national launch, it's a lot of money involved. So you can't afford to make any mistakes. So what do clients and agencies do? Research to death. So you end up with the lowest common denominator, the housewife being the creative director, dictating whatever you are saying. They ask for the celebrities. And you end up writing scripts that are dictated by focus groups. And you end up having commercials that pass all the tests, but you end up being, you know, a very conservative campaign on the air.
Okay, so test happy, conservatism due to significant out-of-pocket costs for the media investment, a lot of regression to the mean, keeping our ambitions in China from being fully realized, creatively speaking. Are you happy with your job? No, just kidding. Okay, Piyush.
Yeah.
1 to 10.
I think all of you have heard a lot about 2 Indias, so for me to give you a single number would be absolutely incorrect. So I'll break it up into 5 and 5.
But this is religious almost.
It is a peculiar country, so you've got to hear me out. When you take India number 1, I think we are 4.5 on 5. The urban India, I think the industry is doing a fantastic job.
Wait, I'm sorry, what India?
The urban India. The urban India, I think the industry is doing a fantastic job. There are people in this country who still love advertising. They don't reach out for the remote. People who travel abroad and come back and say, I was watching television on my hotel TV, and I think they do all kinds of crap. We do much better work in India. But there is a large part of India which we have still got to address, and on which I will give ourselves 1 on 5, because we got a job ahead of us. Before we start looking at the globe and influencing the world from Asia, I think we got to put our house in order. And I think that should be the priority for all of us in the years ahead.
Okay, so a lot of hunger from all of you, and to differing degrees, unfulfilled aspirations. Let me just throw a little bit of red meat on the table before we get into some of the more significant structural issues.
It better be mutton. It can't be beef in this country.
I'm Jewish. I'm Jewish. So I too am kosher, all right? Oh, not kosher, that's the wrong word. Do you think that we are fairly represented in Asia in terms of our creative achievements to date in the international award shows, or is the composition of jury such that we have to do a lot of explaining to get anything with a cultural nuance in there to be acknowledged? Are you frustrated with the lack of progress that we've made in terms of acknowledgement by the international judges? It's a real quick question there to anybody here. Kagami, I think that you...
Oh, yeah, okay. So that's a wonderful question. Because in the early 90s, there's a lot of, the misunderstanding or some kind of ignorance of our culture in the Western world. So I tried very hard to explain what behind this. But it seems like, in the recent 3 or 4 years, there's a lot of the, understanding of our culture. So sometimes I don't need anything about that. But maybe, I'm really, happy or lucky without those kind of juries all around. So I don't know, maybe, do you have some experience with that?
I think it's slightly the other way around. Sorry, is my mic there? My experience of looking at award-winning work from Asia is that that the work which is truest to the market is the work, I think, that gets rewarded internationally. I think it's when a lot of Asian markets try to emulate, or I'll use a worse word, copy something from a Western market, that's when it usually goes wrong.
Bruce, what do you mean by that exactly? Well, I mean, copy what?
I mean, when I arrived in Korea, I would just go into creative department and see people just thumbing through the D&AD annual, the One Agency book or whatever, and the One Show book. And the next thing I knew, I'd be looking at some work and thinking, I know this work from somewhere or other, and it would have been taken from somewhere which had already won an award. Someone had gone through several processes, it had been changed a bit, but it comes out and it's basically the same thing. And I think that's where a lot of Asian markets got it wrong when they were putting work into the international awards, because award shows, because they were putting in work which people had already seen to some degree. The work that goes in, which is truly original, and of the culture, of the market, if it's a great idea, I think that's the work that tends to get rewarded pretty easily.
Kitty, do you agree that there's a new era of multiculturalism?
Oh, yes. I think I witnessed India's first Grand Prix at Cannes. China got, congratulations, first Grand Prix.
Thank you.
Well, Korea has got Grand Prix. I mean, Japan, tons of Grand Prix. Thailand, Singapore, they're all doing well. So I think in the international award circuit, China is really Asia is really the rising star. However, I think I'm actually very split in my mind, because I really enjoy the moments that real ads, real work were awarded, whereas there are still a lot of work that don't really see the light of the day. They're not really the campaigns that are launching the real brands, but they were done not necessarily copying international work, because the judges are not stupid, you know. They have seen everything. So copy work will never get awarded. So the awarded work, wherever it comes from, are always original, always different, very good. However, I'm still disappointed to see the amount of scam work in the award shows.
Piyush.
I think I kind of agree with her. Basically, these international award shows don't really matter. And these are
everybody who agrees with that, sit down.
If you win something, it's a bonus. Go celebrate in the evening, enjoy yourself. Ask yourself, did it move the people on the streets? If it's the same work, salute it, celebrate 10 times over. But I agree with her, there's a lot of work where we are trying very hard to prove to the world, and we've got nothing to prove to the world. We've got to prove it to our own people on the streets. As simple as that. If you end up winning an award, good for you.
But taking the comments of the four panelists together, I am getting a sense that there is progress in terms of not having to work so hard to prove it or copy it to international judges, because they're more cosmopolitan European, and yet still ultimately our driver should be, is it coming from genuine insight and truth in a local market, and that's ultimately what should be celebrated. So if we have new forms of engagement, brand building of the market, insightful creative as our standards for breakthrough, and we are making progress. Let's now talk about some of the barriers. And this is a little bit of an editorial comment, but I've been in China now for 13 years in Shanghai. And everybody always says to me, oh, you must have seen so much change. The new generation is so individualistic now. And I say, well, to a certain extent, their styles have changed, but in a hierarchical setting, when it comes to challenging convention, when it comes to saying to the boss, you know what, you might not be right, having the courage and the power to persuade that which can't be proven, Asia culture, and I know that it's difficult to generalize across Asia, but they are all relatively hierarchical, all right? And I think it's probably also fair to say, correct me if I'm wrong, please, that part of creativity is about challenging the hierarchy and challenging convention and having courage to try something new. What can we all do in our organizations to stimulate the creative mind as managers? I will start with Bruce. He's got his finger up.
Where?
I think the first thing that we can do in Asian agencies is to start listening to young people. The hierarchy that you talk about, Tom, is absolutely there. Certainly in Korea, it's a very Confucian society. Everything starts at the top. It works its way down, and then work usually has to work the other way up the hierarchy till you usually meet someone at the top who may not even be a marketeer who's judging the work. This is just an inefficient waste of people's talent and creativity. There is no shortage of creative talent in Korea or any of the other Asian markets that I visit. I think the problem is that there are some log jams in the system whereby middle management particularly doesn't understand that it needs to be challenged. It doesn't understand that a lot of great ideas are coming from young people and forcing their way up. Particularly in the whole world of online. I've worked with senior clients, and I have to say in a tech sector, who are not remotely interested in the whole online world because they're not on it themselves, they're not part of it. And even when they have young people bringing great ideas to them, they can't judge them because they've never themselves lived in that kind of context. So I would say the first thing that people do, and I would bonus people on just listen to young people.
Okay, so we need to encourage our people to challenge authority. Colvin, do you agree with that? Just kidding. But specifically, Kitty, what can we do as managers to let our people know that they can challenge authority?
I think.
How do we make that happen?
Yeah, I think we discussed this earlier, and we all feel that this hierarchical issue is really blocking creativity. I think from the manager's point of view, I mean, we can say grand things, groom the young, etc., etc. I think it's the small things that you do every day that probably helps. I'm still quite frustrated. I mean, you encounter new people, new middle management all the time. So this characteristic trait actually, is there. They are born to obey.
But what do you tell your staff? How do you talk to your, you know what? Take risks. What do you do?
Yeah.
They really need a day-to-day work. So that means, almost everything is for the hard sell. But, I don't believe in something like brand building. Now it's really, what matters is the corporate itself. So there's something like, our people always looking at the corporate behind the brand.
So wait, I just want to make sure that I understand you correctly. You're basically saying that in Japan, what is fundamental is corporate brand building, because ultimately you're saying Japanese consumers want to trust and believe in a corporation rather than a product brand. All right.
Okay, so that
that's a new idea for many of us.
Okay, so actually, most of the clients ask us how to sell their product in a daily way, but also they want to have some kind of trust, get the trust from the people side. So that we always asking that in the two ways, So maybe it's very easy to sell something if you go the extreme way, but it kills sometimes the brand and the corporate itself.
So is this evolving, or is this a constant truth of the Japanese market?
Oh yeah, this is the economic crisis making this kind of things. The one of the good brand, maybe the good company, is the Uniqlo.
Uniqlo.
Yeah.
Uniqlo.
They are always, they never do the branding. They're always selling their product. Also, the product itself is some good, the unique selling point, of course. But still, they really want to sell, so that they never have a luxury to making the branding.
But overall, I hear quite a bit of optimism that although it might be heavy lifting for different reasons in different markets, our clients actually, in the demands of the market, are pushing towards aspiring at least to conventional definitions of brand building done in a way that is, of course, 21st century. Right?
As long as within the hierarchy, those people who have marketing experience and are the decision makers are in the right place to take the final decision.
Okay. One final question that I'm curious about is I remember 10 years ago, 15 years ago in China, advertising was very, very sexy career. And people would come in there because it was on the cutting edge of new generation excitement. How much do we have to fight against other attractions, other industries, other countries, all right, to retain good talent? Kagami-san?
Okay, so of course we have a kind of crisis now because the many young talented people don't come to us. They go for something like the gaming company or some mobile, so they go for the different opportunity. So what we did now is, okay, maybe we have the same things. Maybe we can make a game. We can make the mobile services or some other, outside of our advertising business. So we try to do that, to attract the people again. So that, of course, this is always, not for just the business, it's kind of communication. And if we have those kind of the people, maybe we can give the different kind of service to our client. So that what we are thinking now.
Thank you.